But this came this way then?
No, it didn't. No, it
Okay.
didn't. I'm on the picture. I wouldn't have bought it if it had that on it. These arrived mail order. These I bought, and it did not have any of this on it.
You saying the edges here?
All of that, all of this, all of this, all of this, all of this. This is second year. Okay? These are, the lilacs are first year. Okay? But all of, this is, these, I thought I had it at May. Okay? And then it started again.
What?
This,
Because I'm not seeing, yeah, there's a few tatters and stuff, but there's nothing on
okay.
there. Okay.
How about that? How about this?
And these are all second and third years?
These are all the second year. And then in varying, these are almost dead, these two.
Okay.
On around here. These were across the front and had that same blight, fungus, whatever, last year out front. So I got rid of that mulch that's over there. That was all around here. I had all the fabric taken out, I had the dirt taken out, scraped up, and I brought these back and put them back here, sprayed the living bejeebas out of them, okay, and put them in here, and now it's starting up on them all over again. This, okay, again, this was, I can show you the picture of it, full and beautiful.
Last year?
No,
Or this year still?
this
Okay.
year, a month ago. And now it's dead. And now look at this. These were brand new this year, and they're starting the same thing. Now what is all of this?
So,
And I don't know, maybe it isn't the mulch.
so, okay, obviously you have rocks. How are you keeping the weeds down, or has it not been a problem yet? Like, have you been
It
spraying
hasn't been a
at all?
problem. I've been pulling them.
Okay. What about in your lawn?
There's not been a problem.
You've not done any applications to your lawn?
No, I
Nope.
broke a bag of fertilizer out there and then
Okay.
raked it up.
And it was just fertilizer?
It
not
was just
or
fertilizer.
weed killer?
No, it was just
Okay.
fertilizer. I have used weed killer out back before I put everything in out back.
Along those back beds, but not out front?
Not out front.
Okay, because specifically around the smoke tree.
No,
Okay.
no, that's rubber mulch out there.
Yeah, but I was making sure you hadn't tried to control weeds.
Oh, no, no, no,
Out
no.
in that area.
I dug them up. And see, this was brand new too.
This is dry.
I know this is dry. But I haven't done anything to it because it's got the same discoloration of leaves on it.
Yeah, see, when I look at this discoloration, just like on some of those others, not the, I'm going to call them the burning bushes. I'm not going to talk to those ones discoloration. I need to look at those a little harder. But some of these discolorations, and even some of the browning on that's a little bit different too. But some of the light green, let me go back and look at the ones that I specifically thought I saw it on more than the others. It's like some, well, what was those? That was the worst. Okay, it was a. So some of this discoloration. When I see this, the first question I also wonder though is, what is the pH here and what kind of happened? Because when I see the lime greening in the veins, and I can show you on my phone, when I see the lime greenings in the veins, one thing that actually tells me is that it's a nutrition problem.
Okay.
So it means it's called being chlorotic. Come on, wake up, phone. Yes, you can see me. Wake up, phone. Really? Sorry. It's a brand new phone, and yet somehow I'm still having issues with it right now. So I'm looking this up under a tree doctor app, and I know these aren't trees, but the problem is the fact that they don't have a
Bush.
yet. Yeah.
So all I want to know is, what do we do to fix this?
So like,
Because
here's a
it's
good example
attacked.
of the chlorosis, and you can look at this and see. This is chlorosis. This is chlorotic. So it's basically
Okay.
nutrition.
Okay.
So how do we fix it? Well, for one, if you're telling me you have brought and taken lots of different soil, one thing I would actually question is if you would need a soil test to then confirm what is now the pH in this area. Because if the pH is off, that's what's throwing all the nutrition off.
Okay.
A soil test isn't going to hurt no matter what, because then you would know nutritionally what is and isn't here. Because if the nutrition is off, that's going to make everybody sick.
All right.
Because it's just like us. If we don't have the proper nutrition of vitamins and minerals, we get sick. And like I said, one of the primary things on here that I'm seeing is when I see that discoloration, and that's why I wanted to get on them and check it too, though, because I can see sometimes spider mite issues on these guys. But that's not really what we're seeing. We're seeing a yellowing in between the veins. The veins are
Okay.
dark green. It's
And
yellowing.
this reddish? Is
Stress.
that a mite?
No,
Oh,
stress.
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 Okay.
It's actually
And
saying
is that the same thing that's out here on the Arborvitae when you look?
kind of. I wanted to come back and check more of these real quick first, just to make sure I don't see anything else. But basically, they're premature fall coloring. But see, like I said, when we look at it, they're extremely chlorotic, and that's why. So I'd probably argue that they probably need a bit of fertilizer,
Okay.
and that may help to pull them out
So
of it. It's
stop
not
spraying
fungal.
fungicide?
Nope, not fungal.
Stop spraying that.
Yeah, stop
Okay.
spraying that. It's not fungal. Like I said, this is chlorotic. These are chlorotic. They're sick. They're not happy. Because, yeah, I said, every time I flip these up, sometimes you can see little dots under them.
Okay.
They don't even look normal. Or like an insect. But whenever I pull these up, you know, the stems
So
are clean,
all of-
everything's clean.
So all of this is not fungus? Like that?
I
That's
don't
not
think
fungus.
I don't think that's really, it's nothing fungal to be worried about if it was fungal, because the reason why it's probably getting it is, again, because it's stressed.
Okay.
It's stressed because
And
obviously the
on
nutrition is off.
stems of these ever blooming, that's speckled,
So
and these, is stress?
it very well could be, because this is a very hot environment
Uh-huh.
with all the rock.
Okay.
So if it's not getting the proper water and nutrition, it very well could be still stress of establishment. Now, I do usually recommend watch rocks and fabric right against the base of these,
Okay.
because that can also cause them a little bit of damage in the future.
Yeah,
It can
and
actually
that's-
strangle them.
Yeah, and that's because I've been walking around it, because there were pulled
Okay.
away.
Well, this is tight.
Yeah,
This is tight on this back side. I can barely get my finger around the plant.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to watch that. But yeah, so
And that's because I've been walking here.
yeah, so watch your watering. I'm gonna put it as watch your watering, because I'd say
Okay.
they need water, but your soil feels very heavy clay.
Yeah.
So make sure you're sticking your finger in the soil and checking it when you do water to make sure they need water, because we don't want them to sit in water either.
Okay, so what I have done in these is I use a mixture of dirt, compost, and peat
Okay.
with the clay
Mhm.
to try and break it down so that it's not solid clay,
Okay.
to give them a fighting chance.
So that can be fine, but that's again where, okay, so if I told you to soil test here, and if you didn't do that here, you need a soil test over here, because,
But I just do it around the plants.
oh, well, the peat can be an acidifier sometimes.
Even when it's like 2, 1
I'm just saying
and a
it
half.
can be.
Okay.
So therefore it can throw, so like I were talking about with these guys, the pH, if it's thrown off,
So that goes airborne?
no,
Oh.
it's in the soil. If
Okay,
if the
okay,
pH,
okay.
The pH is just, it's basically the ability of nutrients to kind of flow, or I'm sorry, not flow, to be released or not.
Okay.
If that pH is off, the soil will not release the pH. It's basically a characteristic of the soil. The soil won't release the nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's why they can look chlorotic, is because nutrition could be there, but if the pH is wrong, yeah, it won't let it have it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that can be an overarching problem. Now, a few spotties on these, you know, I don't know if this is variety or not. You'd have to take it back to the landscape. But to me, these look a little limey, especially, meaning, again, nutrition. Especially when I see this against this. This looks very deep and thick. That looks very limey.
Well, that broke off of this one.
But that could be normal, because some of them do have a more limey. But again, so like I said, this still could be a little bit of nutrition, a little bit of watering. You know, yeah, you know, the key is...
And Miracle Grow doesn't catch it? It's too generic?
Not necessarily too generic. We've been so wet this year, everything's going to look a little bit chlorotic until we all settle down more. Okay. A few occasional spots, you know, unless you are spraying these from emergence and rotating chemicals, they almost always seem to get a few spots. The stem is normal. I'm pretty sure on these, the red speckling on the stem is normal. But when I look at quantity of spots on these, especially for the wet year we've had, wet years tend to do fungal problems. Is the fungal on this, and I can go back and I can email or mail you information about hydrangeas and leaf spots.
Okay.
Most of that is usually pretty specific to variety, so it's just going to stay on the hydrangea.
So these are just stressed again.
Yeah,
it could be from the rock.
Yeah, it could be the heat from the rock. It's also, you know, I say plants aren't established until they're about 3 or 4 or 5 years old, depending on how it is. You know, if they are stressed, it's going to take longer to establish. Okay. So it's going to vary on that. But yeah, overall, I'd say, you know, yeah, these look good. And the thing is, too, fungi, when they work in the leaves, they are basically working inside, and they don't come out until they're at a reproductive stage. Okay. So that's why it's like, if you don't get cover spray, like I said, from emergence, then it may not work. And if you don't get it every 7 to 10 days, we'll go back to the label. Yeah. We'll look at the label, for sure. But using only one fungicide doesn't cover always everything. Somebody showed me, this is very odd to me, I will say, of why did this want to come up and then die back completely?
And it was, I can show you on my phone.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Now that is a 2-year.
Yeah. So, let me ask this. Did you cut it down to the ground and it re-vine?
Yeah.
Okay. This was 1-year vine.
Because it's this kind of banana. Okay? It's not an October plant. It's a purple. I'll show you the picture.
Yeah. And then this I can't explain why unless there was a root rot. You know, I'm digging pretty far. I can't tell how wet of a hole this guy's in. I'm almost down to my hand here to try to get the soil. Yeah. So unless we fully dig this one up and check its roots right now, if we have something fully wilt and die, it's almost always a root problem or an herbicide hit it. For how it died all at once and no curling, either that was an extremely concentrated herbicide or it was an herbicide.
Okay. What about leaf?
So we're back to chlorotic.
Okay. And that?
That's probably a little more. See, honestly, to me, some of this coloration is darkening. I almost want to say it looks like air pollution. And I'm just trying to figure out if there was anything over here that it could be, like a vent.
From my dryer?
Well, dryer, and what's the other one?
You got any idea, Dave? I have no idea what that is.
This one here is the dryer, I believe. No, this one's here. Then that one might. Do you have a bathroom close by?
Or with your AC and stuff.
Well, could that be a vent from one of your bathrooms?
Okay.
If it isn't, then
Well,
the
that
gas
looks
vent
like,
is wrong.
because I know, well, yeah, you can see the lint up there, so that's for 100%.
Yeah, I know.
That
That's
might-
a typical
Right,
that-
I have
yeah.
to clean that one.
That one might be another bathroom vent, because that looks very similar to what we have. And I'm thinking this one is too, but it's hard telling.
Yeah.
I don't
But bottom
know what
line,
that
I'd
Yeah.
expected a little bit more reverse than just this leaf or two. I'm probably gonna take a picture of this to see if my coworkers. Oh, I'm like, why didn't that one come up? I'll probably see if my coworkers have
And
another.
there's seeds all the way around the edges.
Yeah.
From the
But
leaves.
see-
It's just weird. And then it's got a bloom up there.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty small.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more odd to me. But part of me wants to think somehow this is environmental, but I can't finger it right now unless it's like, you know, if they've been doing construction over here and had equipment nearby, like, I don't know, if they just delivered the shed, if they had like just
he built
delivered-
the shed. He's been building it all summer.
Okay, I was gonna say, because like if they had like a piece of equipment here that shot exhaust right at it, I could totally understand then this discoloration.
They're doing everything they're doing here. They're doing by hand.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah,
the
I'll
only
have to get back-
equipment has been on Dave and Betty's property.
Yep. I'll have to get back with you on what's
Well,
up.
Except that. That's the biggest piece of equipment
Yeah.
they've had over here.
Okay. So looking at
So what about these trees?
Huh?
What about these trees back here?
they're all oaks. They're mostly oaks. They're fine. Well, there's some.
There's hickory. There was some cherry.
Can't tell if that's an ash or not. No, it's not an ash. They're fine, but with this being new construction and with you digging everything up in here,
Yeah.
I don't expect them to look the healthiest in the long run.
So, well, trust me, they're not. All of that wood back there came off of these trees.
Yeah.
They were branches that were on them.
Yep.
Be careful because this does slide. Okay. Now, what kind of this black dirt right here?
Mhm.
Eric brought me. I
Okay.
don't know from where.
Okay.
Okay. So, again, that could be. He just tilled up the soil back there in the farm field. What? 2 weeks ago, Dave?
Well, you cut the grass, that's all he did.
Okay. Cut the grass.
The pasture, the hay.
Okay. What was that? A week ago? 2?
Maybe a week at the most, yeah.
Okay.
These were just planted.
A month ago, Dave?
Don't ask me that one. I'm lucky I remember today,
I'll
Dale.
ask John.
They're
He
this
planted
season.
them. Oh yeah, this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, within a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Within
whenever
a
we
month,
transplant,
6 weeks.
because like those up there, you said were last year though, right?
No,
those were
those
this
are
year
this year too.
Oh, okay.
All of this is this year.
Whenever we transplant, we expect some dieback
Okay.
because it's stress
Okay.
and they're trying to get used to it. So the little tips that you saw, if you hadn't told me you just planted this year, I'd have told you they were winter kill
Okay.
because we had too severe of a winter. Knowing they were just transplanted, it's transplant stress. They're gonna lose some.
Okay.
This discoloration is a little bit more concerning, but it's still, in my mind, at this rate, it's going to be transplant.
So stop
Stress.
spraying fungicide.
I don't know that it's going to do good for as much damage as there already is on some of these. You're going to have to really watch watering on these guys. Make sure they don't get too much, because almost all arbs like this hate water.
Okay. Well, I haven't.
Don't not water them, but that's where it's important to not over water them, because they do not like water.
Well, this has just been rain.
When
It rained last night.
I know, I'm just trying to think that enough rain so far. Get a rain gauge out and make sure, like, put it on the rain gauge out. You're not getting an inch and a half of water a week for sure. They still need water.
Okay.
You have money close, they still need water. Who planted this, you guys?
Yeah. Too much dirt.
Yeah, it's pumped up right there. I don't know why.
Probably because it's clay.
Doesn't matter. It's just pumped up. Because
Okay.
actually the roots need to breathe.
Rake
And
it
it-
out.
Yeah, that needs raked out, because if they're planted too deep, then no, they're not planted. See, we can tell he's not acclimated yet. Cause I can rock his root ball. I see his root ball, so he's not acclimated yet. You can rock his root ball and feel that. Just twist. He's dry. Alright. So he's water. He's dry as well. So that is probably evaporating something. If you don't tell people water the root ball, you need to. The root ball is dry. Okay. So it dries out. The plant roots are only in the root ball. It dries out. The plant will die.
Over the underneath part of these plants because this was clear up underneath of them, and I dug all of that out from underneath it. So that's probably a variation of depth. Because I did that.
Okay. Yeah. If you need to clear out, yes, it's dry. Mulch actually can help. Hardwood mulch can actually help moisture.
I understand that, but this stuff I am afraid of.
Okay. But yeah, their balls are dry. So you need to check their, literally get into where the pot was.
Look at this and tell me if I have any reason to be afraid of this stuff.
Mulches don't usually contain too many problems. And it looks this way. When you look at it affecting your landscape, right now, no. Because nothing in here except for the hydrangeas wouldn't be. They're too far. You know, it's not like you're sprinkling it on there. But usually disease is actually harbored in the dead tissue of that plant. So the only reason the mulch is a concern is if the dead leaves of that plant is in the mulch.
Okay, so there's no way it goes airborne.
There's what? I'm sorry, airborne.
There's no way it goes airborne?
I'm not going to say there's absolutely no way, but if there is absolutely no way it goes airborne, then everybody around here can also impact it too. Because I tell people some of this stuff is airborne, but the problem is everybody else is around here. So is this specifically a problem? No. I usually encourage at least a mulching cover, and I usually encourage a lot more hardwood because it actually helps by, again, moisture holding. It actually helps to improve the soil. So like how you added compost and sphagnum, mulch over time, if it's used right, will actually do the same thing.
Okay.
Because the worms and bugs will
color?
work into it. I don't care about
color.
colors. Some people are afraid of blacks because it's hot and reds because it's toxic. To me, if it is a reputable company, they're not going to use a toxic color, you know. So I've used a black mulch year after year because my husband likes black mulch. It hasn't hurt my plants, but I make sure, like me looking at his fern right here, I make sure my mulch doesn't touch the plant. This is borderline touching, but even just doing that, as long as that mulch doesn't touch, it's not usually hurting. You know, it could contain warmth, it could make it hot, but that's the same problem your rocks have. They're gonna make it hot. They're gonna contain that warmth and make it hot. So yeah, a dark mulch, could it try to make it hot? Yeah, but at least it's mulch and it also holds water, so it's at least still benefiting because of the water holding. So I usually don't get upset about colored mulch because there's too many.
Why I got rid of this was because as I raked, when I had it, there were patches of white,
Nasty stuff on top.
yeah,
It's called dog vomit fungus.
Okay, but it wasn't that
It can be different colors.
colored.
It can be different colors.
This was like white powdery almost.
So there is another, because I can see a little bit of right here. Maybe this is kind of what you saw.
Yes, that's exactly what it was, in masses. And that's why
Theories of why I see that happen.
I got rid of it.
Sometimes when it's too deep that happens, and so it basically actually becomes anaerobic, and that happens. But the other thing that we have to consider, this is, I'm going to call it organic material, meaning it was living or dead once. And all organic material tries to decompose, unlike rock. All organic, so it's basically trying to break down the mulch.
Right.
And I get tossed up, and I don't know for sure which it is. I usually blame this on when the mulch is too thick. It makes the white in layers because it almost always happens below the surface.
Right.
So usually when I see the white, I usually actually blame that on the mulch is too compacted and too thick.
Okay.
One or the other or both. So that's why it turns white, because it's almost always under a top layer. Not that it can't surface, but when I see it 9 times out of 10, it's under, and it's veining through right under. Now, could it surface? Yes. And I have seen it surface, and it just depends on the situation. But again, that it's growing on the dead plant material. Usually a fungi chooses, and please don't you step back anymore because you have poison ivy behind you.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
Let us go forward.
You have 2 patches of it at least behind you, so please don't step back anymore.
Thank you for the warning.
Yeah, that's it.
But he's fine. It's just off the mulch. I'll show you where it is in just a second. But fungi choose. I either attack living material and kill it, or I'm attacking dead material.
And they prefer dead.
Well, this is dead. 90, what is it? I just had this set. 90% of all fungi are attacking dead.
Okay.
Only 10% attack living, but fungi cause 70, or that 10% cause 75% of all plant diseases.
Okay.
So it's like, they do cause the most trouble, but it's this itty bitty section of them that cause the trouble.
Okay. Well, I had that same white powdery stuff start going into my sod.
And your what?
My sod out front. Because I had this bark right up next to it.
So it can be slime mold. So again, the dog vomit is a type of a slime mold.
That's slime mold?
No, that's not. That's not slime mold.
That's what went into my mold. My
but again, that
sod.
doesn't always surface. There's other ones, and sod can get slime molds too.
But that's what it was.
It can be a very similar, it will be, and it will look very similar. Is it the exact strain? We'd have to have it tested.
Well, it's gone now.
Yeah.
I gave it to them to have this company. Because I contacted this company when all this happened a year ago. And they replaced all of this. Because of the pictures I had and the plants that I had and all of that. Because
it can be tested, and it's like, samples can be sent to a diagnostic lab to confirm which is which, and I can take pictures.
And again, as long as you are telling us he's not going to have a problem with his sod, I'm not going to have a problem with my plants going forward, that I should stop spraying them with fungicide, that I should test the soil, test the water,
I think a soil test is going to help a lot. Again, a lot of it's nutrition, and this spring with the wetness, everybody has the nutrition icky appearance.
What threw me and just made me go off was I didn't understand why it was Sue and Jim, Dave and Betty, and me. Just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I thought it had to be environmental, and it had to be right here.
Yeah.
It had to be something here. Soil and the fungus that I knew I had in here was the first thing I went to.
Yeah.
So I apologize to everybody.
Well, just to give you a little bit of comfort, believe me, I've seen a lot of this chlorotic.
Okay.
It is actually, only certain plants are going to show it as bad. But Four Seasons Nursery, I don't know if that's who you're working with or not, but they even called me and said, what the heck is going on? Everything is chlorotic. So the chloroticness, certain show it the worst, but don't worry. A lot of people have the chlorotic plants this year. That I guarantee you.
And I understand that, but that isn't what...
Yeah, that spottiness, again, I'm guessing no more than a year or two old.
No, they just put that in.
Probably about 3 or 4 weeks old. In fact, those came from Four Seasons, and we went and talked to them, and they had plants looking exactly like that, and she said it was because of too much moisture.
And see, some plants, so could we have it tested to be confirmed? Yes. Some plants do have, we call it physiological leaf drop or leaf spot. Some of them, that's the way they react and do it. It's like I had a secretary who, just due to the stress, she got hives. Just due to stress. So sometimes we do have plants, can I confirm this is only physiological right now, no, I'd have to have a sample sent to a lab to absolutely confirm.
And I called another nursery, and they told me that oak hydrangeas, most of them didn't make it through the winter.
I could believe that. It's a tough winter, and especially because of how they're trying to overwinter them. It was a bad winter. We usually call ourselves a zone 5 winter, and that's what we standardize buying plants on. We had a zone 4 winter, which means it was colder, which means it did cause potential death and issues. So I could fully believe that it's stressed, and hallelujah, it did make it through. I thought they liked colder, but I could be totally wrong. I just know, I think if I'm correct, they're the ones that like more shade, which is perfect for where it's planted. But yeah, like I said, can it have a physiological spot? Yeah. I don't have the shrub doctor app. And like I said, I can go back and I'll send, I can send both of you if you would like, so that you can try to watch it, both information on hydrangea typical problems, as well as the diagnostic lab's information, so that if you wanted to confirm, so like you didn't have to spray anymore for sure, then you could. Is a preventative fungicide treatment gonna ever hurt? Only if it's done improperly.
Right.
It's never going to hurt. It's just questionable, is it doing any good?
Okay.
But again, that's in the eye of you. If you want to do it, by all means do
The
it.
only thing I know is that these were looking not as stressed as this, but they were showing
Yeah.
these kind of spots.
And if it's a physiological,
and I
it's stress.
sprayed.
Yeah, if
I
but if
sprayed
it's
and
stress,
it
it's
went.
gonna. Yeah, the stress is gonna show it, no matter
Yeah.
what you do, unless you make it happy. But if it's not stress, then yeah, you know, it should take care of it.
Yeah.
Was there anything we wanted to look at here before we go look at that Daconal label?
Dave,
Not me.
you want to look at any of your other plants to ask
Yeah,
any questions
if-
or anything?
If it was me, I would have sodded the whole yard.
Well, yeah.
Betty wanted all the plants, so that's why all the plants are here. So I wouldn't even begin to
Yeah.
know what to ask.
Poison ivy. Leaves of 3, let it be. This is a weedy rose. Now, of course, I say leaves of 3, let it be. This one's missing a leaf. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And if we look back on the stem, it's going to be what they call an alternate arrangement, which means it goes here, 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 here of a leaf. This tree's not got a good example. But if we look at this rose stem, leaf, 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 you know, they come alternating down. That's poison ivy. That's poison ivy. I think that one's poison ivy. That's poison ivy, and around the corner, all of those are poison ivy. So you actually have a pretty good patch of it back here.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
we do.
farmer's proud of it.
Eh,
He is.
he's proud of it, you said?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he got really upset when people started taking it out. Because that's what kept the kids from riding their ATVs through here.
Oh. Well, that makes sense. I can understand that. And poison ivy technically is a great wildlife habitat. The berries technically are, which is why the other reason it gets spread so bad.
Yeah.
Berries are actually good for wildlife. It's just nasty for us because I just got over one bad batch of it.
Spraying weed killer back here.
Could create problems if
Oh,
not
it
done
could?
right. Well, because that's where, again, when we go back to that smoke bush,
Yeah.
that thin, strappy leaves, part of the time when we've seen that, and we'll have to look at that one again now that I think about it, that can be attributed to herbicide damage.
Okay, because I'll show you a brand new one that I have over here. Doesn't have it, and it's very fine.
Well, that's what it can be. Otherwise,
I
it makes
understand.
me wonder if it's got something viral or if it's, we don't normally have that. Let's drive on that one. I want to go back to that. All of this has just pretty, yeah, I guess the thing that's yeah, but see, that looks completely normal, completely fine.
Right, and where I sprayed is right back there.
Yeah, but like I said, a proper application is fine if it's too hot or too windy. Now, we don't necessarily want dead calm either.
Right.
Too hot, too windy, the label will say when it's too hot, then yes, it can come forward and it can attack. But see, what the killer is the fact that for the damage that it has, it almost looks like somehow it accidentally got on the trunk. When I've seen So that one, yeah, we do need to go back up and look at that.
I bet you that I'm gonna just pick the brain as much as I can. Because it's always good to have something I know that's helpful. Because I can read all the books I can, but I would much rather have somebody who knows. And you think this one will be fine if I just give it some tender loving care?
Yeah, just
Okay.
watch the watering on all of these.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a picture of it as well. Because I have a network of people that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore come on. Somebody's messaging me. Those keep popping up. Yeah. So I have a network, and like I said, for how this looks so strappy and crazy, the only two explanations I could have is could it be winter injury or an herbicide problem? But
Or because I transplanted it.
it still usually wouldn't be that crazy.
No?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm going to have to look at it and watch out. This might be a little deep. I can't tell for sure,
Yeah?
but it might be a little deep because we should always be able to see like the first set of roots and seeing how it looks like these stems are buried
Yeah.
a little bit. It might be a smidge deep. Yeah, it's deep. There you go. That's more like it right there. About in here is where you more want it.
So I'll put some
You have to fill it in a
filler
little bit.
under. Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to ask others. And the key is too is that when it comes to herbicide injury, could it be you? Yeah. Could it be neighbors? Yeah. Could it be across the street that it happened? Yeah. Unfortunately,
We live in neighborhoods.
well, and when you consider fog, why fog happens is that it's called an inversion, and it can float, and the herbicide can float. But what can't be explained is why this and nothing else, because nothing else has any other symptoms that would make me question it,
Okay.
except for that one. So that's where it makes kind of herbicide unlikely, unless it was hit last year somehow by accident. Because that's where I said when I've seen that, that's when they've usually said it. It was usually hit on like the trunk of a tree, and then it has that strappy, odd look.
Okay. And I'm trying to remember if I sprayed, because it was down there last year, and I don't remember spraying down there at all last year, but I could have.
Yeah, and seeing
But
how it
being
looks
buried,
okay, that's not
the-
helping it, but that's not
causing it.
it's not causing it. No, and it may pull through.
Okay,
Herbicide
so
injury, it still
put
could
some
pull through.
more
Fill that
black
in.
dirt in there, and
If it's too heavy clay, just try to refill it with kind of the same stuff. Otherwise, you make a bathtub.
okay.
If it's too heavy clay everywhere else, by actually amending in a hole, you make a bathtub.
Okay, well, I've got clay. I got a.
Okay. No, I was actually coming back to grab that Dakin because we said we looked
Yeah.
at that.
Alright. I do. Big clay in here that I dug out from around that front tree. I know, I'm bad at
English.
So I should just put this in here, right?
Yeah, you could fill some of that in. Oh, that is pretty nasty. You could probably mix that in a little. You're gonna have a hard time getting that in without hurting it.
Yeah, I'll get it in there. Of course, this is move number 3.
Shake well before using.
Did that.
Oh, okay. Fine spray required for proper application.
I'll show you my sprayer.
Flowers. Or could affect flower colors. All right, so yeah, so this one says, no wait, which one? Oh, staff, floor panel. So this one says that yes, apply every 7 to 14 days until conditions no longer favor disease. So that's where I can send you again what the types are, when they are. When it says during the periods when conditions favor severe disease, generally cloudy or wet weather, use a shorter interval between applications. So in the weather we've been having, it should be every 7 days, no earlier. Now that we are getting hot and nasty, you can go every 14 days.
Okay.
And I do typically recommend that if you find a different active ingredient, it's not always a bad idea to change them up occasionally. Meaning use a different active ingredient. And that's Spanish. Alright. So yeah, like I said, that. So basically, yeah, you would start spraying it as soon as they start coming out and we have that cool, wet weather. That's when you would start, and you do it every 7 to 14 days. Or 7 days, yeah, every 7, 14, depending on the weather and how much they grow. And then you can back it off to every 14 until the disease cycling of it is no longer as present.
Okay.
So yeah, that should help. And it listed on there a couple of diseases that are typical of hydrangeas.
Okay.
So leaf spots and cytophthora, I can't say its name, something like that. Cytospora, I think I should have it right. It's just one of the type of leaf spots.
Okay.
So
that should help that too, right?
yeah, that should hopefully make sure it at least has a good life, not too deep. Because basically when they're too deep, we're suffocating them.
Okay.
They can't breathe. Roots have to breathe. We put them too deep, roots can't breathe.
All right.
So by having them up higher, or up where the roots are more near the surface, they can actually breathe.
Okay.
So,
And I'll need to water that in.
yes. So we make sure we don't have air pockets. So,
Yeah, especially since it's that.
nasty clay. Yeah. Yeah. So, anything else?
Such
Let me just ask two questions. So when you were talking about the pH in the back,
Yep.
and
What
it's
should it
yeah, what should it be?
It-
Why isn't it what it should be? Is it because this may have been a farm field at one time and have some effect on that?
So it should be somewhere between 6 and 7, hopefully. Maybe 5.5 is also okay. It actually goes back to the nature of the land. Some
Okay.
of the soils, like clayier soils, can tend to have a higher pH. When I say higher, it's the range where it should be. Sandiers can tend to have a lower pH, but it just kind of comes back to the characteristics of when we consider before we all came here, the characteristics. The catch is, this is not the parent land. When your builders came here, they probably came and they probably stripped off soil. So even what the farmer did probably didn't matter anymore because they probably stripped off all the topsoil. So you're actually dealing with subsoil. And so you're dealing with the pH of the original subsoil. It's hard to change that. The farmer, think about it, he was trying to grow a crop. He may have used products that may have affected the pH, but then he would have used other products on top of it that would have brought it back down.
Okay.
They use anhydrous ammonia, that'll bring the pH down, but lime brings it back up. But I also point that out to say, don't ever go putting anything to change your pH without knowing what your pH is. Because of that. Just because he did it doesn't mean you should be doing it.
Okay.
Seen that's a hayfield, I don't know what this was beforehand. They wouldn't have put in anhydrous. Oh, they would not have put in anhydrous on a hayfield. They only put in anhydrous on like corn and beans. So, you know, and like I said, plants need it. Corn needs the same pH, 6 to 7. So whatever they did, they would also counteract and do to fix at the same time. Kind of like, you know, with unfortunately like cancer, because it's been going on. My people I know a lot. We do chemo that's really, really bad to help out, but then we might have to do blood transfusions and those immunotherapy things to help it on the back side. Sometimes we have to do something a little bit harsh to get a good result, and then we come back and rectify it if we have to.
Okay.
Or if we plant an acid-loving plant, then we actually naturally try to force the soil to change.
Okay, so
You don't have acid-loving plants here. No.
no.
And I got to figure out that one clematis too.
And as far as the mulch goes, you're pretty sure that's not the problem.
The mulch isn't what's causing the chlorosis. The mulch isn't causing that disease, I believe, at this year. Like I said, it may be physiological, it may be bacterial. It's hard for me to say, or I'm sorry, bacterial or fungal. but that specific mulch I can't blame right now as to causing any issues I'm seeing currently.
Okay, and you mentioned something about possibly testing it.
Yeah, and I'll send you that paperwork that if you ever wanted to send off a sample to have something tested. Now, granted, what you would have tested is the plant itself. You could send a bit of the mulch, but they're probably not going to isolate it in the mulch. It's just that it could be there, and it could water splash up. You know, some of the organisms have a way to get windborne by themselves as well, or airborne. Still usually involves water, but yeah. But then again, if we're saying, is it that mulch? Well, it could actually be in the rocks. It could actually be in the lawn. It could be anywhere.
So trying to isolate it's like very hard to do.
Needle in a haystack.
Okay.
Where it came from, needle in a haystack.
How about soil testing? What do you suggest for that?
Just nutrition.
No, how do we?
Oh, I can send you soil test kits.
Okay.
So I'll put those in mail for both of you as well. I'll probably wind up having to send you a little. Well, I guess I have her email address if I'm correct. I can't remember if I have yours.
No, I didn't give it to you.
Okay. Then you can let me know if you actually want me to send you the information by email or mail. Because
Email, please.
Okay. So I need to get your email address.
Okay.
And I don't think I have your guys' address.
Well,
That makes sure actually wind up going only like an inch or 2 or 3 or 4 inches or 6 inches.
How deep?
Oh, that's right. That was per pothole. I'd probably say since that was per pothole, then as long as you have not modified much else in the area, we treat the whole area the same. You know what? Your houses are only 2-3 years old at the max.
Mine's gonna be to the 29th of July.
ours will be 1 in November.
Okay, that's I doubt a lot has changed. That
Well, actually,
wouldn't
it's
be
only gonna be one.
Whose?
Mine.
Yours is only going to be 1 too?
Well,
Also?
I moved in the 29th of.
I think it is pretty
Fine.
close to here because when Betty and I were coming down through here looking at this, and we were watching your house, it was like they had this thing up in a split second. But yeah, I think you're right. It's
I
only a year.
did the landscape right after they built, and I had to have the soil in by a certain date. And then they started on yours. I was in here one winter. Whatever, it doesn't matter to
Yeah.
you.
Bottom line, it's still young enough that you've probably not modified most areas enough. I can send you 2 bags if you really want to test that hill separately.
I do.
So I'll send you 2 bags. Do you think you need 2 bags? Because like I said, if you haven't actively modified it, it's probably consistent.
Okay.
And actively
gonna
modify is, like I said, 2-3 inches worth of material addition.
Because he's got most of yours is soft.
That still doesn't count though. That's not deep enough.
Oh, okay.
Not deep enough. Because you need to pull that sample 3 to 4 inches deep.
Okay.
So we're going past the sod.
Okay. Now, where I have the rock, just pull it back and down.
Pull back, pull down, and put it back down. Okay. Replace it.
Okay.
So, and pull it from just different sections, and you can mix it all together. Let it dry out in a bucket, mix it all together, and treat it the same. I think you can do separates, but each sample is going to be $20 for the diagnostic lab, or to the soil test lab.
Okay.
So, but it's very, at least like it's pretty thorough, and they give you reports. So you can choose up to 3 interpretations. So you can say for a new sod, or for established sod, or if I wanted an acid loving plant, or I wanted a garden plant, you can choose up to 3 interpretations on the soil report that they'll say, well, in this area for your turf, this is how you should fertilize to overcome whatever's going on. For your arborvitaes, because I've got evergreens, this is what you would do to help them out the best. So it'll actually give you 3 different readings off of it. The levels obviously will be the same, but what their recommendation is will vary compared to what you desire, which is kind of why I like this lab. Huh?
Here's what I want to do.
Yeah.
My only question is, if you mix it up, how am I going to know what?
Well, again, because this whole area is basically pretty consistent right now.
Oh, because I'm going subsoil.
Yes, you're going subsoil.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
I keep thinking.
Yeah, the surface, but remember, the plants aren't going to stay on the surface, just like that sod.
Right.
That grass is probably only
You're
there for a month or 2, and it had to start going down or it's not going to live.
Yeah.
So
you're
we
right.
need sub.
Got it. Go down.
Like I said, 3 or 4 inches at least. And I tell people, it'd be nice 6 to 8,
But in reality, I know people aren't going to get it.
Right.
You know, I can
And
bring a
this is
soil
my
probe
second
out,
summer.
and I will barely get 6 myself
Yeah.
on most lawns. I'm lucky to get 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And there'll be directions with it on how to pull it,
Good.
where to send it. You know, it'll come with a label, so you'll need like a small box. It'll come with a label, so you can put the label on the box, ship it off,
Good.
the soil test bag.
Excellent. Nikki,
So-
thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Thank you so much.